Aurora, the Witch of Calamity, and I feel like this fight asserted our feelings that, whatever Shadow may seem like, maybe he overestimated himself. He always, comes in clutch pretty much. Like he always will be, like he'll always be the strongest no matter his opponent. And that's what I really like about this show. Like, it just shows consistently that even though we see who Shadow's opponents are and they're crazy strong and whatever, he's always going to be that number one. And I hope throughout this show we just see, that no one in this show can really, maybe one person can rival his power, but hopefully, no one can actually beat him. Like, even though they rival his power, Sid or Shadow will always come on top, and I like that aspect of the show. But let me with that aside, I want to talk about the actual things I want to talk about. So the first thing I want to bring up is the church. So throughout this episode, we saw like the church being very behind the scenes. Like, even the Archbishop, when Sid's name, or when he saw Shadow, he even said, oh, it was that rat that kept on interfering with our plan. So I feel like, especially the church or the Archbishop, maybe the church is involved with the cult of Diablos, but it seems like the Archbishop is more like the head honcho of the cult of Diablos. And I really wanted to express that the church and the Archbishops, they're very intermingled with the cult of Diablos. Like, it's pretty much the underground identity now, especially for the Archbishop. And I felt like that was a very interesting point I wanted to make. And it was just, the whole episode was very fishy. Like, he was actually behind it, and especially after he defeated, like, he even had a kind of puppet with some kind of curse. We saw he looked like when Shadow was, making this challenge to the ancient warrior. She even had I guess a puppet and you saw like the curse markings on his face, like a talisman. And it's kind of implied that he was going to use that puppet in order to, I guess, defeat Shadow, but he didn't. The Witch of Calamity beat him. And what I love about this fight is that when they were fighting, Shadow actually noticed, like, when he was looking at the Witch of Calamity, like, he noticed that she was enjoying the fight, but she was, she had change on her, imaginary change that restricted, her fighting abilities or whatever. And Sid, he recognized that, and immediately he kind of finished her off as, like, a way to send her back, or to finally release her from her chains. And I felt like that's what he did. And the one last thing I do want to bring up before I wrap up this review is what Alpha keeps on saying. So she says, so you are, so Shadow is, and then that's where it cuts, always. And she did this, I think, last episode. So I do wonder, what does Alpha know about Shadow that we, the audience, don't know? Like, what is she hiding what does she suspect that he's involved in? Like, does she think that, like, he's involved with the cult? Does she think, like, he's, something else? But I'm very interested on what Alpha is, like, implying here, because it always cuts off, Shadow, and then it cuts off. So I am very curious, and I hope by next episode we at least get, like, a clear hint as to, what she's alluding to in this scene. But yeah, overall I really love the fight between Shadow and the Witch of Calamity, and overall I think it'll be very interesting with the way this episode finished. So the way it finished, it was very interesting. Like so after Shadow kind of defeated the witch and everything was over, Shadow left and everything. Um, the It seemed like the barrier they set up broke, and then in front of the Archbishop, kind of insignia or a curse mark was like in there or something, and it like dispersed, and you can see like all the seven shadows gathered in that city for a reason. So I do wonder, what's that for is, because I feel like by next episode maybe they're gonna like have to fight all seven shadows against this like Archbishop or whatever. So I'm very interested on why they gathered there, because if all seven shadows had to be there, it's something very serious. And you can see towards the end that Delta and I guess Alpha, they were like in their battle suits attire, and they were like ready. And you saw Epsilon 2 and Beta, you saw all of them, they were like ready to go. So you expect something very big to happen, like some kind of battle or something, because they were in like their battle suits or the battle attire. And it just makes me really wonder what's gonna happen next. And I think that's why I love this show so much, because it does give that allure that every time next episode something big will happen. So obviously I expect something big to happen next episode, and that's what made the ending of this episode so exciting, because now I look forward to watching next episode and to see what who they're gonna end up fighting, all seven shadows. And like I said, I also hope that Alpha does give us like a little bit of hints as to what she means, that Shadow is. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, like Alpha is always saying, oh, Shadows, you're actually this person, that person. So I hope, especially next episode, that we at least get some hints as to what she's implying. And I just hope that kind of gets revealed. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed the fighting, the comedy in the beginning, the ending. I love this episode, especially the ending. Certainly make me want to watch next episode. Very excited, and I'm very happy with this episode. Very entertaining, and I hope you guys felt the same way. The only bad thing is that these episodes, the thing that makes Shadow Garden or Eminence in the Shadow really good is that every time when I watch an episode, it like doesn't feel it was 23 minutes. Like it felt it was shorter, but it was 23 minutes. So that's why I like every time I watched an episode of it, it felt like it was shorter than 23 minutes, but it was actually 23. So that's another reason why I love this show. But yeah, overall I think this was a pretty good episode, very exciting, and certainly makes me want to watch next episode and keep being excited for them. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.